the WWE are preparing to bring back Drew McIntyre to WWE Raw, potentially with a heel turn coming after an initial face return in order to get him back into the championship picture in the months to come. Drew McIntyre is contracted to the WWE until April, and his last feud was against Gunther, with a feud that could be renewed already in the offing. There's plenty of details to share, so let's jump into it. The last appearance of Drew McIntyre was at WrestleMania in a triple threat match with Sheamus and Gunther. Sheamus was added to the match after a strong showing as a team between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus during the Royal Rumble. However, there is a bit more to it than that. Sheamus was added to the match largely as protection for Drew McIntyre, who's apparently been carrying a number of injuries dating back a number of months as well. Niggling injuries, nothing potentially too serious, and apparently no real surgery needed, but he has been given time away from the company after WrestleMania to rest up. Given the intensity of the matches he has worked with Sheamus, and in fact the triple threat with Gunther, I understand why he might be feeling a few aches and pains. A break and a rest is not the only thing that's happening though. There is also a contract negotiation ongoing, and this is a contract that I expect to be signed by Drew McIntyre, because I expect both Vince McMahon and Triple H to be working to sign Drew McIntyre under whatever terms they can. From what I can tell and what I'm being told, it's not about money per se, it is more about the push. Drew McIntyre wanting to compete for world championships again, not necessarily wanting to work with the Baron Corbins, the Karrion Crosses, as he has been doing for a number of years. The Intercontinental Championship is a championship, but it's world championships that are on the table. Both Vince McMahon and Triple H apparently view Drew McIntyre as a key figure going forwards, and while they don't believe that anyone leaving will be the end of the company, exception being potentially Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre is someone they desperately want to keep hold of and will be happily negotiating as best they can to get that over the line. Rumours of a hiring freeze have been massively overinflated, is what I am being told. New deals such as the one for Logan Paul further prove that. A new deal for Drew McIntyre should be a very, very strong offering. Now, the world titles unfortunately are booked up on both sides. This is the World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship, which is disputed by the World Heavyweight Championship. As such, a push might not be something that Drew McIntyre gets in the first year or before the year ends in which his contract would expire. Afterwards though, those doors do open up a lot further and Drew McIntyre may get his WrestleMania moment in front of some big names. I do believe we may see a return to Drew McIntyre versus Gunther at some point in the near future, but with a world championship on the line. Now, the return plans that are currently being put together do involve a rematch, a singles match this time, between Drew McIntyre and Gunther, potentially for the Intercontinental Championship. There are discussions about that for SummerSlam, but they are already putting together creative plans for Drew McIntyre's return to the fold. The WWE are not necessarily worried about losing Drew McIntyre, believing that they will be able to convince him to stay, though there are of course plentiful rumours about McIntyre to AEW or All Elite Wrestling. PW Insider have reported that Drew McIntyre has now confirmed American citizenship, so whatever he chooses to do, he will likely be long-term in the US regardless. The WWE are planning to use Drew McIntyre whether he signs or not, the difference being that if Drew McIntyre is not willing to sign a new deal, he will essentially be jobbed out of the company and go out on his back. Now that has likely ruffled a few feathers of Drew McIntyre fans, but I should point out this has happened to a number of people and many wrestlers actually much prefer it. The Undertaker, for example, always wanted to go out on his back because that is very traditionalist. Always go out on your back from a territory. It's also true of, for example, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14 when he didn't think he'd ever wrestle again and lost the championship to Steve Austin. The Undertaker once again may have had something to do with that. It's also true of AEW's Jon Moxley, who was Dean Ambrose in the WWE and who was jobbed out to Drew McIntyre to build Drew McIntyre for a match against Roman Reigns at that year's WrestleMania. Dean Ambrose, of course, a couple of months later, would debut at AEW as Jon Moxley, breaking many promises that he had made at the time. From what I can tell, Drew McIntyre does follow the more traditionalist model of The Undertaker, and he's fine taking a few losses on the way. This was originally mentioned during spoiler warning last night, but I am really enjoying seeing so many trolls dive down my throat pretending that I told them he'd be on Raw last night. Keep trying, guys. Keep trying. Subscribe for more details as they come. We have plenty more information coming. I've been Tom Colohue. Thank you and goodbye.